Welcome to Draft for Upside. I am Brewerymark. With me is Danger Cole. And tonight we are going to do a Thursday night preview and some waiver wire picks.
Man, I came so close to that Thursday night win last week, didn't I?
Yes, so close.
So close. One last minute decision lost me $490.
Ugh, that's painful.
Just gotta trust your gut. That's the one lesson we learn, huh?
Yeah, that cost me a little bit this last week too, changing my mind at the last minute.
Yeah, don't do that, people. It's no good. It's no good for you. Change your mind if there's a massive lineup change or injury or something, but gut feelings are usually pretty solid. So stick with your gut.
Absolutely. So, did you want to go over some of your waiver picks for the week?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the waiver wire. I guess the news today is probably one people are paying attention to, but Dez Bryant signs with the Saints, and they say that he will be their number 3 wide receiver almost immediately. So some of the media say. What do you think of that situation?
It's a wait and see for me. I'm not gonna throw him in any lineups or anything quite yet. If I have room on bench, I'll go and stash him. But
Sure.
I think he's pretty much done. I mean, he seemed so slow in his route running for Dallas last year, and the Saints rely on the quick cuts and everything. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on similar lines there. I picked him up in 1 out of 6 leagues just as a flyer. I happen to have some spare room that I wasn't really. I mean, I had like Josh Dotson sitting on my bench, who's never going to crack my lineup unless there's an injury. So I thought, hey, give it a shot. Let's see where he lands. But the thing is, though, Mark, is that they don't need him to be fast. I mean, Michael Thomas is a quick strider. He gets loose on some deep plays every now and then. They've got Traquan Smith, who is lightning fast. Um, Cam Meredith and their other guys really have done squat, so I don't see why it hurts to give him a shot. I mean, if anything, you throw him in there and let him try to get a couple of red zone targets. And but however, his last year in Dallas or so, he did have trouble with drops. So I'm not even saying he's that good of a possession receiver. But if you got a dead spot on your roster, a spare tight end you don't need, a spare quarterback that you were using for a bye week that you don't need anymore, I mean, absolutely take a shot. I mean, it is a hugely powerful offense.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you're right. If you're in a fab league where you got to bid on the guy, I don't know how much budget I'm doing. I mean, it's probably not a lot. But stash him on a lineup, watch him play for a week or two, and see how he ends up. So we could see what happens. You know that he was fully capable of making a roster, and that him and his agent were definitely waiting to take a shot at a team for a championship. And that's the one thing missing from his resume so far. So I think this was a calculated move. I don't think it was that nobody wanted him. I think he was waiting for the right opportunity.
Well, and he picked the right team. I mean, the Saints and the Rams to me seem like the teams to be on if you're looking for a championship this year.
Absolutely. So the other news is Geronimo Allison out for the season. So we were already on Marquez Valdez-Scantling if you've been listening to us for the last, gosh, I don't know, month. So hopefully if you're fans of us and you've been listening to us, he's already on your roster. But if not, he was one of the absolute hottest pickups this week. Of course, all my leagues are 12-team or bigger, so I tend to have guys like this on my roster already. But even in a 10-team league now, I think you take a shot on him with Geronimo Allison out and Cobb so prone to injury. What about you, Mark? Do you pick up Marquez Valdez-Scantling in a league if he's available?
Is maybe a third wideout if you're in a league with where you're starting 3 wideouts or you're in a super flex. I would add him as a third.
But certainly, if Cobb goes out with an injury, he's a must play.
Yes, yeah, you could throw a flyer for a handcuff somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. Looking down the list here, Duke Johnson, similar situation. He's owned in most leagues. I'm trying to find his ownership percentage right now. Let's see, 69% owned across Yahoo leagues, but of course that was with an addition of 21% this last week. A lot of these waiver wires cleared last night in a lot of leagues, but some are still open. today. But Duke Johnson looks like he's carving a rollout in that offense now that it's just down to him and Chubb. And they're playing against Atlanta, which they're going to have to try to score. So if you've got a spot for him this week, I definitely don't mind picking him up.
Yeah, I'll give Duke Johnson another week to see if he can recreate the magic this last week.
For
Um,
sure.
but Atlanta has a really crappy defense, so
Yeah.
they're
So the
giving
next
up
guy,
lots of points to the running back.
yeah, and the next guy on my list here is an interesting player. He's really kind of a gadget guy, but Cordell Patterson, he looked pretty good with New England playing that kind of Ty Montgomery role. He's only 5% owned in most leagues. Another 20% added this week. But it looks like James White is still going to carve out his role, and it appears Sony Michel might be back to action this week too. I'm not sure I like Patterson to repeat what he did, but it has been a tough year for running backs. So I guess you could put him as a stash if you want to. I don't think anybody even bothers to pick him up, and you can let him sit there and see how he does the next week.
Yeah, I know. I don't. He'll be there. He's especially with Sony Michel coming back. He's not going to play the running back role anymore. He'll go back to being that
Hmm.
10 play a game receiver that might catch one.
However, if you are in a league where you get individual return yards, he definitely probably should be rostered at this point because he's getting that plus some play out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Next one on the list there, I had him earlier this year. I dropped him everywhere, but Mike Davis looks like he's in line to really be the ball carrier while Carson is banged up. I've never liked Carson because he can't stay healthy. Davis, when he gets the ball, has been very effective. The Seattle team is the only team in the NFL running more run plays than pass plays. So can you believe that?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, especially with that stack of running backs they have.
All right. So if Mike Davis is available in your leagues, I mean, I definitely pick him up. It looks like he was only 24% owned before this week in most of the standard Yahoo leagues. So I like Mike Davis. He's been on my bench in a bunch of leagues, but when Carson came back healthy, I kind of dropped him, and Carson's hurt again. I really want to see what they can do with Rashad Penny, but they just seem like they just don't want to run him. I don't know if it's because he's been ineffective, because they don't like him at practice, or maybe they just think, hey, this guy's the future. Our team kind of sucks this year. Let's not hurt him before we actually need him.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's not looking too good in practice.
Right. Below that on my list here is Jack Doyle, a guy that I love a lot. He is one of Andrew Luck's favorite targets. Andrew Luck has been absolutely unstoppable the last few weeks. They are playing Jacksonville this week, but it is in Indianapolis. Jacksonville has not been as good as they have been in the past on D. But I love Jack Doyle. I know Ebron kind of was very good at the beginning of the year, but honestly, Jack Doyle is Luck's guy, and he might not get the tight end one looks, but he's going to be kind of at the back end of that tight end one and front end of the tight end two list. And he's on waiver wires all over the place. I mean, he's wide open in most of my leagues. Um, Fortunately, I have good tight ends in most of my leagues, so he's not really on my personal radar. But I love Jack Doyle, and I think he needs to be scooped up immediately if you need tight end help because tight end has been a disaster.
Yeah, exactly. There's only two or three good tight ends out there, so Jack Doyle would be just fine to play in front of most tight ends.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be available. I mean, their schedule's not great. They've got Jacksonville, then Tennessee, who's been very stout in the red zone. Miami's okay, but then Jacksonville again. So they've got kind of a rough uh, couple of games here. But because they're playing against good passing defense, maybe he gets a few more looks than he normally would, anyways. I mean, I'm a big fan of Doyle, and I'm trying to get him everywhere where I need somebody. But I've been fairly lucky at tight end this year, so it hasn't really been a need.
Yeah, I say scoop him up.
Next guy on the list here, Maurice Harris. He exploded for 10 catches, 124 yards with Washington. They really have been dying at the wide receiver end of the game for them. Crowder's done nothing. Dotson's done nothing. They've been surviving with a mix of running game and a lot of short passes. But this guy has really exploded, and I think that they might have to just keep giving him some run. You know that Alex Smith is really only capable of throwing to those slot receivers. So if he gets a little play there with Crowder being kind of banged up and maybe missing the game, I mean, I like him. He's kind of a nobody, and I hate tying anything to Alex Smith personally. But if you need the depth, they've got a game against Tampa Bay coming up, and I can certainly endorse at least playing him for this week.
Yeah, at least play him against Tampa.
Absolutely. So, Adam Humphries, another guy, had an absolutely crazy game. What do you have? 8 catches, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. Um, he's always been kind of a darling of Fitzpatrick in that offense, but there is so much talent really in that team. Mike Evans obviously is very good. Deshaun Jackson's that good deep guy. Godwin's been a serviceable guy. There's too many options here. So this is kind of a fool's pickup for me. I don't think that I read much into this huge game of his. There's just too many options. OJ Howard, Cameron Brate. I just can't spend any fab money trying to pick up Adam Humphries.
No, he was just the receiver of the week for Tampa. Um, that's one of the things that killed me. I had Deshaun Jackson everywhere in
Mhm,
DFS.
mhm. For sure. So flipping back through here, I mean, there's a couple players you can take a shot on. If anybody dropped Larry Fitzgerald, which I've seen in a couple of leagues, you keep an eye on that. Ito Smith is a guy out there playing against the Cleveland defense. If you need a fill in for running back, I don't mind him. Um, you know, the other guy, the last guy I really want to talk about in depth here is John Ross. Uh, Absolute speed demon for Cincinnati. And it looks like AJ Green's going to miss a week or two, maybe more. I like Ross a lot. I've squeezed him into a couple lineups already. And I think he has a shot to have a pretty good role in this offense. They're playing New Orleans coming up in their next game here. Um, and then they've got Baltimore, which is a tough matchup, but then they're at Cleveland after that. So the next couple of weeks, he could be a nice pickup and have a chance to prove himself.
Yep.
But other than that, I mean, if you're looking for a defense to fill in, I know a lot of good defenses are on buys. Yeah, you got a couple of ones out there. Obviously, the biggest target this week is probably going to be the Jets because they're facing Buffalo at home in New York. So uh, I can get behind that. Green Bay if you need to. And then I have quite a bit of New England myself going against Tennessee, even though Tennessee played way better than I thought they would Monday night.
Yeah, Tennessee played pretty good. I actually ended up enjoying that game a little bit more than I thought.
Yeah, except for it really screwed my showdown. I was just absolutely convinced that Dallas could come out and win that game about 37-15, and that first opening drive or two with Elliott going on these huge runs and Mari Cooper catching the touchdown. It was a pretty exciting game, but it definitely took a turn that I wasn't expecting. But I was fairly on the Amari Cooper bandwagon. I have to admit, I told a few people go ahead and pick him up. I think what people forget is that Amari Cooper is only 24 years old. People keep talking about guys like Calvin Ridley. You know how old Calvin Ridley is? 23 and a half. I mean, Cooper is basically rookie age, and he's got 3 years experience in the NFL. I think they gave up on him way too early in Oakland, and I think he has a chance to be a stud in the right offense.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know if Dak Prescott is the right offense, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, the coaching staff and that team really like to force the ball to one target, so I think you're gonna get a good amount of shots of Amari Cooper in the red zone. That's all I got for waiver wire. You got any other guys you're looking at, buddy?
Nope, you pretty much covered everybody I would have an interest in.
Great. So let's take a look at this game coming up tomorrow night. Who we got?
We have Pittsburgh, Carolina at Pittsburgh on
Hmm.
the Thursday night game. The over is 51 and a half currently, and the Steelers are favored by 4. So this is telling us Vegas is expecting 3 touchdowns and a field goal from each team. Um, so a pretty high scoring game.
Yeah, definitely gonna be a fun one to watch. Huh? Maybe I'll actually go back to the gym I've been paying for the last 4 months that I haven't been and watch the game. Huh. No, it could be a good game. The Pittsburgh defense has not been great, but a little better of late. Carolina's defense has been better. They both have a pretty solid quarterback, of course. I like the weapons in Pittsburgh, obviously, more, and they're at home. So I really like the Pittsburgh side of this game. Carolina's been pretty good of late, but I'm not ready to root against Pittsburgh yet. I think they're still tearing it up until proven otherwise.
Well, I think it's going to be a really good game. I mean, Carolina's putting up points now, and they're finding ways other than Cam to win. So I'm looking at it as a pretty good game, and I think doing a showdown, I'm probably going to put in one Pittsburgh stack and one Carolina stack.
Yeah, I definitely like both sides of the ball. I think you can mix it up nicely. So the one thing Pittsburgh does do well is their middle linebacker play, and I think they have a pretty good shot of kind of keeping McCaffrey in check. So looking through the showdown lineup, at 1100 $11,000, 400, 11. Let me speak English. $11,400. Um, I don't know if I can really pay for McCaffrey. I think I'm going to have to find some value elsewhere. If you're only building one lineup, I think the one thing Pittsburgh can do is kind of contain that style of play.
No, I agree. McCaffrey is probably my least favorite pick on Carolina this week.
Yeah, I think
Um,
they're going to have to air it out, and I think Greg Olson's going to get just a metric shit ton of targets.
yeah, and I like Funches a lot this week too.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't mind Funches. Not my favorite. Go blue. So, I still am waiting for DJ Moore to break out. I really thought it was going to be last week, but I might just pull the trigger on him yet again.
I don't think it'll be a bad pickup. I mean, he'll be running against the number 2 cornerback in Pittsburgh, which is always better. He's a speed demon, so it's not a bad pick.
Yeah, I think you're going to see me go with another couple of kickers again.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is a week I will avoid defenses.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, I really got hurt playing I played a lot of Dallas defense in season long. I only lost 1 out of 6 leagues this week, so it didn't really hurt me. But my Dallas was like my flyer of the week because I just thought Tennessee was on the downslide, Dallas was on the upswing, and man, was I wrong about that.
Yeah, they started out good too. I thought they were gonna roll Tennessee in that first quarter.
Yeah, didn't quite play out, did it?
Nope. I think my favorite play on the board for Thursday night is going to be James Conner,
Hmm.
even though he's the uh, highest salary of all the players, and he's probably going to be the highest chalk. But I
Yeah, I can
think
see
it's a
that.
play you have to play. If I mean, you could go contrarian, but I think you're going to be in the 20 percentile if you do.
Yeah, right.
So you have to hope he bombs if you do that.
Sure. The way I've been looking at it so far, I built a couple of lineups here, and um, trying to fit all these guys in is extremely difficult. So you kind of got to um, take some chances. So who do you like on the lower end of this? Take some chances. Do you think that James Washington continues to get a slightly bigger look at all? He's gotten a couple of targets, but really Antonio Brown's taken over. So I don't know if I like that. So looking deeper in the Carolina guys, I mean, I don't know. Jarius Wright, CJ Anderson, like anybody at the bottom end.
No, I don't see where any of these people are going to score any points.
All right. This be a tough one. So I don't know. You might have to not take some of the high end guys and take a bunch of middle rung guys, like looking through here, looking at like Curtis Samuel at 4,400, and
Yeah.
looking at one of the kickers to go with, say, a Cam Newton and James Conner, and a Greg Olson kind of thing, and then kind of take some of the middling guys.
Oh, I agree. And
Mhm.
I'm going to roster both kickers.
Yeah, quite possible. Quite possible. Although I like a few of these lineups I've gotten with just taking some of the middle range guys. So we'll see what happens. I'll play around with it, and if anybody wants to ask us some advice, of course we can follow up. But yeah, I think I like the over here, and I do think that I think I like the over. I think I like Pittsburgh. High scoring game. Pittsburgh pulls it out.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the over too. And I think it's going to be Pittsburgh. I think it's going to come down to a field goal though. But I
Yeah.
think
So you
it's
think you're taking Carolina to beat the spread?
yeah, I would take Carolina on the spread.
Well, I would take Pittsburgh. So meh.
Yeah,
What do you think of that?
I
So
think that's good.
awesome, man. Well, you know what? I gotta go feed my children.
Oh, okay. That whole
So
fatherhood thing.
I'm gonna go do that.
I'm gonna go drink a beer.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. I might do that as well.
All right. Well, this
That's
is
awesome.
Draft for Upside. Look for our Week 10 preview coming up this Friday, and we'll see you later.
Cheers.